Welcome to the Flexible Philosophy Podcast, where we explore psychology, religion, and philosophy in everyday life. We are both therapists, but we're not your therapist. If you need support for your own situation, please reach out to a professional therapist. We are so glad you're here. Let's kick it off. We're back, everyone. We know you've been waiting and waiting for a podcast, and we've been just keeping you at bay. And now here we are. We're ready.
Yes, we're chomping at the bit as much as you are.
Yeah.
So
we had double spring breaks, and I closed on a house. We've had all these life things keeping us from this podcast. And here we are.
Well, it's not a house per se. It's a farm.
We're calling it a farm.
It's a dream.
It is not just a dream. It's a post-cancer, we're going to do life all the way dream. It's
I love it.
Great. Yeah.
Yes.
It is.
There's for our listener, there's a lot of work that Jennifer has to do on this property, but she got a little taste of the paradise of it all when you had that bonfire.
I know. So we found this property that was 6 acres that was just down the street from our current house. And we've been looking around where we live for like 5 years because we wanted to move, but we didn't want to move to a house that was really cramped with neighbors on either side. I'm sure a lot of people can relate to that dilemma. And so we've just stayed where we are. And then we saw a property come up that was like a big fixer-upper. And it came up like 3 years ago. And we talked about it. We looked at it and we backed out. One else went and did the vision, and they built a great house on it, and they had all this land, and we were always kicking ourselves we should have done it. And so when this acreage came up, we were like, this is it. We have to do it. It's a huge fixer-upper. The whole house needs work. There's mold in the basement. It's really dirty. The land is really pretty.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Don't you know a professional power washer, though? Yeah. That can do some of it.
My son, Cole, if anyone out there is listening, is in the Tennessee area, is the founder of a major pressure washing organization, and he can pressure wash. He's also staining fences. Yes, he is gonna earn most of his income from us this summer doing our property.
He's so professional. I can't believe the information he puts out there about different chemicals and degreasers. He knows. How did you learn all of that?
I don't know. He because I have 4 kids, and so their personalities are all so different, and his is so unique. He is just the kind of person that wakes up thinking about his passions and interests, and he never stops. He is so into his business ventures. It's adorable. He actually ordered a shirt from Canva that got here yesterday for his business. And it says CD pressure washing or whatever. And then it has his phone number on the back.
Okay.
His logo. And he wore it to school today.
I love that.
To advertise to teachers and stuff. And my husband was like, you are going to get teased. People are going to start fake calling that number.
Oh my gosh.
He was like, fine.
Did he write off the shirt as a business expense?
Oh yeah, he's got all his receipts and his
oh my gosh
card.
That's so cool. I could just see him in school, and they're like, all right, everyone, we're going to read chapter 17 of Great Expectations, and he's just like, I have chemicals to order. Can we get through this?
Yeah, he's like, this is a waste of my time. I should be hitting the streets advertising. He's he's chomping at the bit.
I love that. So summer's going to be so much fun for him.
I know. And now we have this big giant garage because he's been storing all of his pressure washing stuff in the corner of our tiny garage. And every time I go out there, I have to step over everything strategically so you don't fall. So to get to my hammer, I have to do this little physical challenge to get to the box. And we got there's this really big barn on the property, and we'll have so much storage space for his business supplies. He's very
nice. I love that. Well, he's probably we can write off the square footage that I'm going to use as storage.
Yes.
He's
going to be painting a mural on the side of the garage that has his contact info so people can see it from the road.
Wow. I love that.
Yep. It's a dream. Stay tuned. I would love to have farm content on this podcast. This is going to be really fun.
Well, speaking of our topic of the day,
Yep. We are talking about a life motto that could not be more polar opposite that I am obsessed with.
okay.
Okay.
So okay. This is a dialectic. Shout
This-
out to Marsha Linehan, the founder of dialectical behavioral therapy. We've talked about dialectics before. It's like two seemingly opposite things that exist at the same time. Like
yeah.
one's not right, one's not wrong. This isn't you put it on a list or a scale and weigh the pros and cons or anything like that. This is just acceptance of two seemingly opposite concepts.
Yeah,
So,
which is an important developmental phase to understand the difference between black and white thinking, where it has to be one way or the other, and to complex thinking, where two things can be true at the same time.
yep. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So here's the two truths. Are you ready?
Yeah.
So a couple of years ago, this is going to hit the religious crowd or whatever, but Caedmon's Call used to have a song called Bus Driver. And it was sort of like about the meaningless of life. And there was this bus driver, and all he did was go do his route every day. And the theme of the song is like, I'm just a bus driver. Like, what does it all mean? Or something like that. It was a very kind of like, not dark song, but just sort of like, what's the point of all this? Nihilistic.
Okay, sure. Yep.
Okay, so if you follow Christian 90s CSM pop culture or whatever, Derek Webb from Caedmon's Call deconstructed and turned his career into like non-Christian music. And he had an album come out a few years ago. And one of the songs was called Bus Driver 2. And so he wrote a song that was sort of like the other side of that character from the first song. And now he's retiring as a bus driver, and he is picking up people, and he starts to tell their stories about how like he knows their names, he knows their background. And it's giving me chills just to say it, but like the theme of this song is it all matters after all.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. That song is on our stem cell recovery playlist if anyone wants to go look it up. It really hits home because it's like it talks about the importance of showing up even on the days you feel so small. It talks about different people that were part of his route, but then they passed away, and like he remembers their stop, but like they don't get on anymore and stuff like that. He talks about how he was never late. He got people to go where they needed to. He never crashed, stuff like that. And it's just kind of like, yeah, it turns out it all matters after all. Like all those little decisions or just like little steps in your routine and stuff like that, where, as a therapist, sometimes it's like, dang, am I doing enough? But you never know the power of just showing up for someone that doesn't have people that show up for them.
Okay, I love that you're sprinkling in all the lyrics into what you're saying. She's like,
Yeah.
you have to listen to the song. She's pulling all the lyrics.
Yeah. It's hard for me not to sing it as we talk, but I'll spare the
It's so
listener
good.
of
You have
that.
to, if you are listening to this, you have to go listen to the song. It's so good.
It's really good. Actually, pause us right now to go listen to it and just soak it in. Like, I recommend this song to a lot of people, especially when they're burnt out and stuff like that, because it means a lot to hear, like, all those little things did matter to someone. And, you can feel small on a given day, but, you just keep showing up. So.
And talking about like a meaning making system for life and what is your philosophy, what is your why, and then to me, focusing in on like the little things all have mattered. Like it has all mattered. Like everything we've experienced, even though we don't understand like what the big picture reasoning is, or sometimes it does feel like nobody, especially in therapy, like it's such a private to have, like no one's going to give you an award. No one's going to recognize you at the end of the year for like who you helped, or like you can't even talk about what you do. And so it's like remembering that like those little conversations, they matter. Like the little things that we do in our everyday life, the cashiers we talk to, the people that we influence, like it all matters.
Yep.
So good.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, but are you ready for the DBT reverse? Uno reverse?
Yes, here's the twist. Uno reverse card. Go.
Okay, this is my favorite thing, is being able to hold two completely different truths. So in the middle of, I guess, like cancer being so impactful in my worldview and living in this new reality where like I don't know, the urgency of wanting to live longer, wanting the test results to come back, like fighting for your life, like the overwhelming life experience of facing death, like all the time,
Mhm.
has been so much. And I had this dream like 6 months ago, probably. And I don't know, I don't have dreams often that are like memorable. They're usually just weird ways my brain is processing, but like this one has stuck. And it also pairs with the feeling that like I tend to be a high anxiety person who like, wake up thinking about my to-do list and it's just like there's all these life pressures. Anyway, so in the dream, I'm standing in front of this person. I don't even know who they are. They're like a stranger. And I don't know them, but it's like in the dream I have this sense that I need to let them know who I am before we like go forward and are getting to know each other.
Mhm.
And they look at me and they're like really close to my face. Like we're standing like in a very personal way. And they look me straight in the eyes and they say, "It doesn't matter." And there is something in that dream that like connected in my brain. I think it feels in that moment like how it would have felt to take a psychedelic, even though I haven't taken a full dose psychedelic ever, because my brain heard it in such a way that I couldn't forget how it felt to believe that like none of it mattered. And it was
Mhm.
just like this release of like the things you're stressed out about, like whether you live or die today or tomorrow, like how this all wraps up for you, what all the things that are you're carrying that are so heavy. And it was just like, it doesn't matter. And it was just this great release of all that I was holding. And it helped me to wake up and just be like I felt like chest felt lighter. And I was like, okay.
Mhm.
Great. It doesn't matter. And so what's funny is I can't explain how I live in both of those truths every day, all the time, with like feeling like every little thing I do matters after all in like a beautiful way, and also holding like none of this matters. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
the dialectic.
Yep. And I don't know if there's like a specific answer for that. Like, well, this is why this matters and this one doesn't. So end of the day, like those are two very opposite thoughts, but they exist at the same time. It's crazy how it's like that. Like the stuff that's like it doesn't matter. It sounds like that's like the stuff that burdens you, or like
Yeah.
the high expectations, or this like bar to succeed or something like that. And it doesn't matter at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's kind of like the things that you're anxious about and the things that weigh you down that you think matter. And so you're extending all this energy, like life energy. It's like it's irrelevant. Like I can go nihilistic for those things and remember that like at the end of the day it doesn't matter. And then the
Mhm.
things that are actually valuable, like a friendship or an exchange with someone I love, or even just like something simple like how the sky looks today, like all of that matters so much.
Yeah. Okay, well, it's interesting that you're saying that, because I'm kind of like making sense of these concepts, and I'm like, okay, it all matters after all is on a very micro level. It seems like
Yes.
these little interactions and stuff like that, and then nothing matters. You can kind of say that it's like a zoom out type of thing, you know? So
Yeah.
it's like small
Yeah.
then big, but there's a flaw in that, because it all matters after all. You're talking about like looking at the sky and kind of like it all matters after all also feels kind of like a zooming out thing. At the end of the day, it was those things, like perspective wise. And then with the it doesn't matter, it's kind of like, oh, little tiny things that can be stumbling blocks we get tripped up on, of kind of like, the interest rate on my high yield savings account, and like getting all bent out of shape of like, oh, they gave me this quote on my car but not this one and stuff like that. And so it's like it doesn't matter, but that all sounds like micro details. So
Yeah.
there's both big and small, or like far out perspective versus zoomed in perspective on both of those too. So I
Mhm.
don't think it can be boiled down to like, don't sweat the small stuff, you know, because sometimes it's like it doesn't matter, ends up being like this big zoom out or looking back in time type of retrospection.
I think that it might make someone who wanted a rule to follow a little bit upset to see the way that it's flexible philosophy, because really you get to choose in this frame. Like, there's no rule for what you decide matters so much and what you say. Like, kind of the secret or the key of it is understanding that it's truly irrelevant. Like, it's up to you. Like, if
Mm-hmm.
you choose to make the small things that bring you joy matter and make your meaning system off of that, do
Yeah.
it. But like, you can let go of the big things,
Mm-hmm.
and remember that it doesn't matter. I also think it could be a little bit spiritual bypassing to like it's for you. Like, you couldn't tell that to someone else unless they wanted it. Do you know what I mean? Like, if somebody was suffering and then you were trying to help them by being like, listen, it doesn't matter.
Okay, so it's so interesting that you bring up that, because I was reading about the rapture recently. Like, I just came across this post about Left Behind, and I think we've talked about that book series before, or the movies and stuff like that that came out when I was a kid. And they like, it was like a ghost story, but they're like, this is gonna happen though. You need to resist the mark of the beast. Like, there's a lot of pressure involving the rapture and Left Behind and stuff like that. So I found out recently that the idea of the rapture was made up within the last 150 years. Like, it didn't
Yeah.
exist before then. There was no talk of the concept. But a lot of people started adopting it when they printed out those Bibles that had like scripture and commentary next to each other. So the
Hmm.
commentary looked like scripture, and people started like giving it a lot of weight when they were printed like that.
Yeah.
So I was talking to my husband about this new information that I learned. And I told him that a few years ago, I would find a lot of like peace and solace in the verse that says, fix your eyes on what's above, not on what is seen, because what is unseen is permanent. What is seen is going to pass away, rust, blah, blah, blah. There's a few passages in the Bible that are that concept of like, just fix your eyes on God or fix your eyes on what's eternal. So I used to find a lot of peace with that, because I'm like, well, there's all this drama here on earth, or, there's all these struggles and stuff like that. But, rest is waiting, so that whole concept creates kind of like an escapism, right? And so it's just kind of like, oh, well, this is all temporary, or, I'll fly away one day, right? It creates this like detachment from our like actual human experience. And so the rapture societally creates an escapism or a detachment, because it's just kind of like, people yearning, or to use biblical language, like groaning in the spirit for Jesus to come back and to be like, just take us away from this. And so the detachment results in like people not taking care of the earth, people just kind of like living in a way that indicates that everything is super temporary, or that it doesn't matter and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But so nowadays I'm like, okay, I don't want to just like live for this escape, or to be like, oh, like Jesus come back, take this away, take this suffering away from us, or something like that. It's like, I don't know, it clashes with like living in the moment and like being aware and perceptive and enjoying the time that you have. Or I don't know. There's just
Yeah.
like, there's a lot to like sit with and weigh.
Yeah.
So, anyways, going back to what you were saying, like it creates kind of like a passiveness to be like that none of this matters, but like there's a future thing that actually does.
Yeah. I think this is why philosophy is so interesting, because it's literally the map or the worldview or the ideas that we have that we don't often think much about are shaping everything we do in our lives. Like, it's shaping the way we think about things, how we view ourselves, how we interact with people, how we view the earth, politics, all of it. And like, so if you have a viewpoint shaped by the idea of the rapture or by like a high control religious group, it's going to inform how you live your life, how you think about yourself. And
Yeah.
like the thing is, like, there's a lot of different ways you could believe and live your life. Like there's a lot of different concepts, like philosophies, if you will. And so me choosing to live in a philosophy where I'm like, everything matters, like it's meaningful to me, the little things are meaningful, but at the end of the day, like it doesn't matter, like the things you're worrying about so much, like you can let go of those because it won't matter. Like, what's the outcome of that philosophy for me? Like it's helping me function in the world in a really good way. And I guess you could like evaluate for somebody who lived their life believing that the rapture was coming at any minute, like how does that make you live in fear? Does that make you live in like futility of it not mattering? You know, it does impact that person and how they see the world too.
Yep. So, okay, I have a long-winded question for you specifically.
Ooh, let's go.
Okay. So, because of current events, I've been having a lot of conversations with people that are like, it was nice knowing ya. We're just awaiting nuclear warfare at any time. And like, kind of this existential dread in a way, or like the end is near type of conversations. And so I was thinking, I was like, oh, I just like want to tell my husband, like, thank you for like being such a great partner. Like we met, like we existed at the same time, and like we met, we're just now like really getting our bearings with like our legacy, or like with everything that like we're building, kind of like our net worth and like investments and decision making and like financial stability. Like I feel like we're just now like really starting to make some ground. Okay. And so I wanted to tell, or I did tell him yesterday, like this, this just has been like a good experience. And like, I'm sad that like we may not live a full life. Like
Hmm.
we may not see any of this come to fruition, or it's just like, I wish I would have lived when my grandparents did. And like, there was some turmoil, like world events wise and stuff like that, but like they never experienced like war conditions that I think are inevitable. Okay. It's kind of dark, you know?
This is a
And
very on brand conversation for the podcast.
so,
I'm here for the irreconcilable thoughts of death.
yeah, yeah. So I'm like, dang, we're like planting our garden and we're like spending time with each other and like doing all this stuff and everything. And then like for it to all be wiped out, or for us to become like war refugees and like, you know, having those same conditions that like our country has only seen on TV, you know?
Yeah.
And so I'm like, is this really like what we're doing? Like after doing everything right, making all these right decisions, like amazing credit scores, like so okay, this is a long-winded question, I know, but here's the part. So as I was like expressing all that to him, like it was kind of like it felt like I was saying goodbye to him, you know? And I was
Okay.
like, I wonder if this is a little piece of like the type of grief that you felt when you got your prognosis, or there was talk of like 10 years or something like that, just like a set amount of time. And you've told me before, like you doing the math on that, you know?
Yeah.
And so I'm like, I wonder if this is part of the grief that Jennifer felt of like, I have this life and stuff, but it's getting cut short. And like, did it all matter or not? Or both?
That is, oh, that's like such a cool thing to be asked because I think it's something I lived through that is unique in the sense that, yeah, like you get handed a diagnosis, and like the first thing anybody with cancer is going to do is start Googling how long they have to live. Like
Mhm.
it's just the hyperfixation on that. I think there's some people who are like function by not wanting to know and like, don't tell me, I don't want to know. And I'm like, I want to know to the second how, like, what
Mhm.
this means. You can't really know that. But yes, that is exactly how it felt. Like, I felt like someone took like, I want, like, my vision for my life was like, I had it mapped out. Like I wanted to be really healthy and like I wanted to be like not just a grandma, like to have grandkids, but my vision of myself as like an old lady and like the long lifespan and like what I thought was decades and decades left. I felt like someone took my lifeline, like from 0 to 100, and took scissors and like cut it in half and handed it back to me. And they're like, you get to live till you're 50. And I was just like, watched 5 decades of my life be burned up that I thought I had. Now, I may still live plenty of decades, but at the time, I thought I was like 5 years.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah, it was very devastating. And then you're
Yeah.
like, what was the point of all that? Like all of the responsible building behavior. Actually, you say planting a garden and your 401k, but part of buying the farm is that in that moment when I got the diagnosis and was looking at the timeline, I thought to myself, like, I don't even have time to plant a fruit tree and watch it make fruit because that takes like 4 years. And I was like, what's even the point? Like, because we live in a house right now that I can't really like plant a fruit tree because we don't have enough sunlight. And so buying this house and like going and planting a fruit tree in it and like with the hope and the belief that like I will be around to watch that tree in 5 years make fruit has just like it's
Mm.
given me so much life.
Dang.
It's really hard out here in the world.
Oh, I knew your answer would be one that makes me like want to turn my camera off, you know? And
It's so much grief to think about dying or not being around.
hmm hmm
Yeah, and you're like in the prime of life right now, building your family's portfolio, and then to have all that momentum and think like you're just getting like the good parts. And then you're
Yeah.
like, what if we have nuclear warfare and it's all lost? Or what if people die like that all the time? They die all the time early.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It made me like go back through history, just like big events, big world events, and like all the lives that got cut short.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. Like there was like a plane crash this week and the two pilots died and you just think like just like that. It
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
do not
Normal
walk
day.
around. I have never walked around with such awareness of how short life can be until this last experience. And now I see it everywhere. Like people
hmm
getting cancer, dying early and I'm like, "Oh, yeah, that's definitely I don't know, it has shifted my perception of like it's likely I'll die when I'm really old to like, oh, it's like not a guarantee. Like we just
Yeah.
have to live today.
Yeah.
But go back to the philosophy of what you're saying is like
hmm
it shifts the way I cope with that is it all matters after all and it doesn't matter because your 401k may not even matter.
Right. hmm
But enjoy planting the garden for the sake of planting the garden and enjoy saving for today because
hmm
of what it does in the moment for you.
Yeah.
Like
hmm
let that be that's the it all matters like because if it's true that you're only going to have 5 years of whatever it really should matter what you're doing today. It should matter more.
Yes.
Because if this is all you have like
Yeah.
that feeling from cancer is like so visceral to me of like if the sun is shining today, like you better go outside and enjoy it because literally you do not know how many more days that you get to enjoy that. So even with all the stuff
Mm.
with politics right now, like it sucks what's happening. There's a lot of suffering and also like this may be the best day you've ever had even though it's so crappy for the world. I don't have time to waste being like upset and waiting for it to get better because like the there may not be a later. Like this could be as good as it
Mm.
is. Even now.
Yeah. Dang.
Whoa.
Okay.
Well, we delivered.
That was our day back.
That was a light day back.
Just another day in the office.
We are predictably the same on every podcast. So
Yep.
it's the same vibe.
It gets dark, it gets philosophical, and people keep coming back for it. So,
Yeah. and then we're going to go outside and live our life because it matters, but it doesn't.
Yeah.
Okay, go listen to the song though. I'll put in the podcast notes.
Okay, cool.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.